Futures trading involves risk and is not suitable for all investors. Content provided in this segment is meant for educational purposes and is not a solicitation to buy or sell commodities.
Hi, welcome to the October 12th edition of Basis Loaded with Joe Schmit. I am Joe Schmit. This episode, as always, is produced by Paige Driscoll, and what we do here is break down the latest on the NDPSR report. Let's start this week with butter. This butter number coming in at 309.09. A little bit of a disappointment to the CME one-week average of 323.10. So that's a minus 14. Week to week, the CME was up 36. The NDPSR only able to gain 16. So the meteoric rise that we saw at the CME has been slow to translate so far to the NDPSR. And you'll notice on the volume, we only traded one load at the CME last week. So that was at a higher level than even this 323. So very little weight at the CME to pull this average up. And you'll notice volume on the whole, a little on the low side as reported here on the NDPSR report, falling short of the 3 million pound level, well below our 3.5 million, and of course 1.5 million to 2 million off what butter was trading in the 270 to 280 neighborhood. So a little bit of a disappointment here in butter on both price and volume. Up next in the cheese, let's start with blocks. This block number 188.19 represents a plus 6 to the CME one-week average of 182.20. We traded 24 loads at the CME. That volume not represented here, still falling short of our expected 12.5 million previously contracted sales. So volume still lagging, in the blocks anyway, still well below our expected volume. As the block price comes off of that $2 level, the buyers have yet to return. Prices coming back closer to where the buyers may be interested, with the CME one-week average down 8, the NDPSR here down only 6. So this is a higher than expected price coming in at 6 over, and the losses at the CME are slow to get into the block as well. 182.20, I think you have to call a victory, however, for the block price. Story a little bit different in the barrel. 165.78. That represents a plus 8 to the CME 2-week average of 157.47, plus 8. That's nice basis. That's above our expected 4 to 6 cent positive basis. The CME 2-week average was down 14.9. Here the NDPSR week to week dropping 13.5. So the losses at the CME in the barrel complex do translate here to the NDPSR, that 2-week average moving almost 1-to-1. And I think the big story in the barrel is volume. We traded 20 loads at the CME last week. That should do a lot to help out the volume on the NDPSR, and help it did. We were able to achieve normalized basis north of the 13.5 million pound mark in the barrel for the first time since late July. Barrel sales volume has been slow for about 2 months. Ever since prices rallied at the CME, the buyers kind of turned their nose up. Now that we have the barrel price down below the 170 level, buyers seem okay to returning. We're actually seeing some sales getting done. So I think there was a little bit of a backup on the part of the manufacturer. Now the manufacturer is getting clear as prices have moved below the 170 level. We'll see how the sales volume acts in the weeks to come, and we'll see if the sales volume increases in the block complex as well. Up next is whey, 30.52. That's a little bit of a downtick week to week on the NDPSR. 30.52 is a 1.5 cent premium to the CME one-week average of 29 cents. Last week we traded 55 loads at the CME, average of 29 cent sales price. So depending on where the whey that is sold on the CME, if it is coming from the manufacturer, originates, that's 2 million pounds at probably a 28 cent price. We're seeing that 2 million pounds reflected here on the NDPSR, with the NDPSR volume north of 6 million pounds, so 1.5 million pounds above our expected 4.5. And I think that the 2 million pounds that we traded at the CME at a discount went a long way in pulling this October 7th NDPSR weighted average down, with a downtick in the whey price for the first time in a while. 3052, though, still a premium to the September 23rd NDPSR price. So the previously contracted sales based on prior week's NDPSR, the manufacturer was still able to call a premium over that level. 3052, about, we'll call it 0.3 cents above the prior week's NDPSR. Good volume. Manufacturers should be staying clear. We're continuing to see big sales on the CME this week. It'll be interesting if those, although they are at a higher level than this 29-cent neighborhood, it'll be interesting if the sales at the CME continue to drag the NDPSR price a little bit lower. And then lastly, non-fat, 114.05, essentially a flat basis to the CME 1-week average of 113.80. We traded 10 loads on the CME last week, so not a whole lot of weight moving there. Actually, week to week, the CME was up 3 and the NDPSR up 4. So we gained a little bit of basis back, and of course, this is 1 week off of moving north of 26 million pounds on the NDPSR. Now this week, we're back down to the 17 million pound level. So as the manufacturer was able to get clear, they stepped out of their own way a little bit, and prices at the CME and the NDPSR were able to trade a little bit higher. So this is week 1 of 4 for the October pricing cycle, currently getting an October class 3 of 1678 with October class 4 all the way up at 2130. If you carry current CME equivalents out through the entirety of the 4-week November pricing cycle, also coincidentally getting 1678 for class 3 and 2050 for class 4. We have some premiums on the class 3 futures forward curve, so it looks like futures traders are expecting some sort of an increase in spot. We'll see what they have in store for us in the weeks to come. Until then, on behalf of Paige and the entire EverAg Insights team, I am Joe. Thanks so much. See you next week. Bye.